Hello and welcome to this video looking at the results of Baringa's UK consumer spending model for 2025. We've lived in a period of heightened economic volatility as Trump's trade tariffs has undermined economic confidence globally. In our Q2 outlook, we have cut UK consumer spending growth from 1.5% in Q1 to a forecast of 1.2% for 2025 in Q2. This remains higher than the actual consumer spending growth of 0.7% in 2024, however, so we're still expected to see an increase in consumer spending growth. However, when we look at our core macroeconomic assumptions in our model, you can start to understand what the core drivers of that headline rate of reduction is. We see inflationary pressures proving far more persistent than we feared in Q1, with inflation at a headline rate averaging 3.2% now in our model for 2025. This, we believe, is likely to lead to a shallower rate cutting cycle from the Bank of England, reducing the rate relief for mortgage holders in the UK. As a consequence of higher inflationary pressures, we've also increased our outlook for the rate of growth in private and social rents, as well as some utility bills. When we look at the implications of those rising costs across the deciles in the UK, you see a stark picture. In pink, you see the increase of costs by decile from 2024, and in blue from our Q1 outlook. The gap between our Q2 outlook in pink and our Q1 outlook in blue is largest for the higher income deciles, 7, 8, 9 and 10. That's because the largest cost increases in our Q2 outlook have risen from that higher mortgage servicing costs as a result of a slower rate cutting cycle from the Bank of England. When we have a look at which consumer segments are likely to have the strongest rates of growth in 2025, we see a very asymmetric picture, with young homeowners and high income and mortgage outright leading the charge with growth of up to 2% expected in 2025. Those low-income groups with larger mortgages or more exposed to private or social rents are expected to grow much more modestly, with single parents, for instance, seeing growth of just 0.3% in 2025 relative to 2024. When we look at the resilience of consumer segments, comparing the Q2 outlook with our Q1 outlook, we also see a stark picture, with those less exposed to rising costs in rents or mortgages more resilient to changing economic conditions, such as high income own outright. Those with large mortgages or large families, such as young families, single parents, or London families in particular with large mortgages, see the largest reductions in consumer spending relative to our Q1 outlook. When we look at product category growth, we also see a stark picture with a great deal of asymmetry depending on the product segment. You see high growth segments in entertainment, such as cinemas or TV subscriptions, whereas low spending growth in communications, such as mobile telephone subscriptions and internet streaming services. When we again look at the resilience of those different product categories, we see a significant variation, with communications such as phone bills and mobile tablets subscriptions seeing the lowest levels of reduction, whereas entertainment and restaurants seeing some of the highest reductions as consumers tighten their belts and reduce those more discretionary areas of spend. If you'd like to understand anything more about the insights from Baringa's UK consumer spending model, reach out to any of our experts.